Alright, so recently we found this guy who goes by the name MosquitoHeadz, okay? And he is one of the biggest vintage collectors in this area. And today he's allowing us to go take a look at his personal stash. So come on, let's go check it out. Alright, man, what's up? MosquitoHeadz, how's it going, man?
Yeah,
so we're here and I'm looking forward to seeing your stuff.
Man, come on in,
right,
come on.
Oh wow, so this is it, I guess, huh? This is
Yes.
like the main layer?
It's pretty much where I store most of my stuff, kind of display a little bit of it.
Yeah, man,
Some of my favorite items.
I like what you've done with the place. I see not only clothes in here, but you have a bunch of, cool little knickknacks that I guess they fit the vibes, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of an interesting little wall piece. It's actually supposed to be a bed, but I had a buddy of mine help me mount it on the wall here. And I actually got that at a thrift store. Most of the stuff is actually from thrift stores. Probably 95% of it or more is thrifted.
Oh,
So,
nice. Okay, yeah, you don't see that a lot. Most vintage people, they drop some serious money on their stuff.
yeah, a lot of people will pay up. That's kind of the trend, and so I kind of enjoy just finding this kind of stuff, like the one you were just looking at here.
Yeah.
Like finding that for $2.
Yeah, now what is this exactly?
This is a skateboarding brand. It's the Wall Jam brand. I've got two of these shirts. Actually, here's another one. It's not quite as cool.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's just old skateboarding. That's kind of neat. It's got like the little bugs on there.
Yeah.
That's what they call all over print. So it's pretty much the printing that goes even in. I mean, as you can see, it even goes into the tag there.
Yeah.
So they just kind of like, they got overspray or whatever. It doesn't matter. Kind of adds to the kind of the character of it.
Yeah, and I personally am a huge fan of the all over prints. I just find that it's like, this is something that was such a 90s or 80s move that they were doing at that time, and I feel like it has so much character to it. And one thing I've noticed is when I go to thrift stores, I rarely look for old shirts, but when I do, I just scan through like this, and you can see, oh, that's gonna be an all over print. Oh, you scan here, oh, what is this? Okay, that's good. And sometimes you'll see these and it'll be like a new Hollister shirt, and it's like, all right, whatever. But it's an easy way to find the all over prints. I mean, is that a technique you use?
That's a technique I use. There's also a technique where it's like this collar right here, if you notice, a lot of times it's a lot thicker.
Yeah.
Like that is thicker than your typical. So if you just flip through, you can usually just find it that way too.
So you were telling me that you get most of your stuff from thrift stores, is that correct?
Oh yeah, I love thrifting. That's kind of what I take pride in, is knowing that I've thrifted all this for under $5.
Okay, so that must mean, because I know from my experience at thrift stores, when you find, certain thrift stores will have, a couple thousand shirts on a rack.
Yeah.
How do you manage going through all of that? And do you ever have times where it's like, you know what, it's not worth my time, I'm just gonna scan through?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I always view it a lot like gold mining. Like you're digging through the soot, the mud, the crap, and every now and then, like this would be a pretty good gold nugget that you pop out of that the creek bed.
So this was found in a thrift store?
This was thrifted. This is actually thrifted by my wife. She picked on it. She thrifts herself. She's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But she pulled it out. She said her heart was racing real fast. You see that giant tag there? It's authentic, single stitch. But yeah, I view it like gold mining. So those are gold nuggets. A lot of times though, you're just getting crap. You're pouring it back out, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's sifting through it, and that's the majority of it. That's rare right there. Finding that is rare. But it does happen. That's what kind of keeps you going. That's what kind of keeps you excited, motivated, and really drives that passion.
Do you ever find that when you find one, there's a good chance you'll find another gold mine? So, like, for example, if you're searching and you've gone through 50 shirts and you found this, do you feel like there's a better chance of finding a good shirt throughout the rest than there would be if you just found, like, maybe one little screen stars that was like a little
I definitely do, and there's a couple reasons why. One reason is when you find that shirt there, you know that nobody's thrifted that day. Because if they had thrifted that day, that shirt is not there.
Yeah.
That's gone. So then that gets you excited because you're like, okay, if that's there, well, like you also said, maybe somebody who donated this also donated a couple other old tees.
Yeah.
So then, maybe there's more of that. So yeah, that gets you really excited because it's like, okay, no one's been here and there's good stuff here. So it's game on. It's game on. So yeah, there's nothing. That's when the rush hits you.
So have you ever had a time in a thrift store where you found like two gems like this on the same visit? Or is that?
Yes, actually.
Wow.
We got them sitting here. There's Let me see if I can find them real quick. And this is another one that my wife found. Okay, here we go. Yeah, these two shirts right here. These were both found next to each other the same day at the thrift. And
so explain these shirts to us. I see this is a, I don't know any of these.
What are these are kind of like more underground, kind of gothic, kind of, it's more of that hardcore scene a little bit. Not really hardcore like Screamo, but it's kind of like, this is, they appeal more to that kind of crowd, that like more seedy, not necessarily seedy, but kind of more underground rock crowd. Okay. So she found both these. She didn't really at the time know what they were, but she was like threw them to me. I was like, hey, what do you think of these? I was like, oh yes, give me those. We're getting those. So yeah, those are both found at the same exact time. So these more than likely were donated by the same person. Okay. And so yeah, that does happen.
Now, do you think, and have you heard stories or have you experienced this yourself, of finding a straight up gold mine where you find like maybe 25 rap tees in one single area that just somehow managed to get there? Has that ever happened? Have you heard stories about that?
As far as rap tees go, I have heard stories of people going to stores and like some of the old stuff they've had sitting around, they found like whole folded piles of it and pulled them all out. And it was, you know, $50,000 in shirts they just pulled out of there.
Oh, wow.
So that does happen. I haven't had that happen with rap tees, but I have had a moment once again with my wife where we did it with band tees, like old 90s band tees, and I found, me and her together found probably 15 band tees. Most of them ranging over $100, some upwards of $300 shirts.
Dang.
Just found all $1 a piece, so. Does happen, man. Those moments are crazy, they're rare, and they, once again, that fires you up, it keeps you going. Really, this rack here is like some of my, like the best of the best. Like this is like, there's nothing here that's gonna be worth under $100. This is all over $100. Some of these are $500. Like we got some, like shirts like that. Like that's a Tupac original rap tee. It's dead stock, and that's going to be worth, you know, over $300 there.
Yeah.
And this one right here, that's, you know, probably worth more than that because it's rare. Like there's just a few of these out in that print.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. If the print isn't out there a lot, people want it more.
Yeah.
And these are both as you can see, these are like their memorial tees. So that's 96, 97. So this is a 97 shirt, and this is kind of like, you know, memorial to their death and like kind of like stop the violence usually. So those aren't as sought after as like the pre-death. The pre-death's rare because it's like, okay, these people are still alive, they're still touring. People want those more.
Are there any in here that you can give me an example that maybe you have bought from an eBay or another seller or something like that? Are there
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Like this one right here. This is one of my favorite all overs right here. It's all my brothers. I got this for like $32 shipped. So in that situation, normally I don't like paying up for shirts, but it's like, okay, those are $150, $200 all day. That's a steal. Yeah, I normally like thrifting it, but I really love that shirt. And I just kind of had to have it. Like the mushrooms, the colors, the freaking like, you got the like galaxy, the moon, like it's a very crazy print.
Yeah.
And I just had to have that. But so that's one of the occasions. If I see something like that, it's a steal I gotta get. And like this right here, that's something that's like, this would probably be a $500+ shirt if I had to guess. So that's a white wrap tee, kind of rare, Mike Tyson print that actually isn't out there. This is what we call a one of one. They don't exist online. You can't find pictures of them. No one has it. So I guess right now, until somebody, you know, reveals they have one, this is the only one. So these are really cool, and people are going to want that. Mike Tyson's kind of big on.
So that was when he got out of prison. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that was right after he got back from prison. Yeah, so he's kind of like, you know, he's a little disgruntled. He's kind of confused. He doesn't really know what happened. He just spent time behind bars, but he's ready to go. So he's ready to fight right there. Enjoy doing it. I think a lot of people, when I set up at pop-ups and stuff, they don't really understand that this is thrifted stuff. And they're just thinking I'm paying up for it, but it's really not, man. So it's kind of something I take pride in, like I said. And as you can see on these walls here, these are kind of, this is actually a recent find my wife found. This is kind of a rare King Kong ringer. They call these ringers because there's the ring here, that red ring there. It kind of, you know, it's like a contrast in color. But that's like a very pop culture, cool, iconic print there. And I just love that shirt. So I put it up here on the wall to kind of display it. And
now, are those, because the thing is, I feel like with the ringers, that's something that probably 10 years ago, these were remade as like a popular comeback style after like the Vote for Pedro shirt and everything came out. So do you feel like those are not as sought after because they're not as, I guess, rare of a find? Because like I said, they'll remake a Reese's shirt with a ringer neck and a ringer sleeve.
So you're talking about reprints? Like
like, well, it's not even
Walmart,
like
old,
like Walmart
vintage
stuff.
McDonald's shirts.
Did that kind of ruin everybody's mood towards those style shirts?
Not really. I mean, you're gonna have the people who don't really care about the authenticity and like the actual true value and rareness, and they just want something that looks old. They're gonna be the ones buying that from Walmart. But people like myself, people like the people I set up with, like other collectors, they don't care about that stuff. They want the true deal. They want that because it's rare. These are usually made in USA. They're clearly not making any more. They're only getting rare because people are throwing them in landfills. They're getting lost, however, tore up. It doesn't matter, but they're getting less of them. So that makes the value go up. It makes the rareness go up, and the collectors get a little bit more volatile on how they're trying to get all these in their possession. Yeah, and the collectors have actually jumped up. Like if you look at it, like I always view this also like a stock market, and in the past 5 years, like I guess. With Round 2 Vintage, Sean Wotherspoon over there, and a lot of these other guys that are kind of bringing it to the mainstream, you know?
Yeah.
Even like rappers like Kanye wearing it out on the street. Like that's going to make everyone want it now because they love Kanye or they love Round 2 Vintage, and now everybody is getting into it. You got a lot of these guys that didn't really care about this stuff, but now they're out hitting the thrift stores, so it's kind of amping up the competition, it's amping up everything, and it's also amping up sales. Like it's good from a seller standpoint because now you can make more money and sell it a lot quicker. So it's kind of interesting how that's working into the whole market.
Value aside, what do you look for, and what are the shirts that you typically like to wear when it comes to vintage t-shirts? So like what really pulls you into a shirt?
I like kind of pop culture-y stuff, like that King Kong I showed you. This one right here I think is kind of a slept-on shirt if y'all want to get a shot of this. This is these are old movie poster prints that are printed onto t-shirts. Like this is like a movie from, you know, I don't know, 40s. I couldn't actually date that. I'd have to look that up. But those are amazing. Like this is one of my favorite shirts actually.
Okay.
And I think these are going to explode. Right now they're not that popular. I mean, you're still not going to be able to find them for under $150, $200.
Yeah.
But nobody's really all over Instagram trying to post pictures of those. And so that's actually really cool. And this is actually worn. I don't know if, of course it wasn't this shirt, but there's a Rolling Stone picture of Guns N' Roses. Slash has that exact shirt on, like exact shirt. So that's kind of neat. And this came from the West Coast, so I like to think it was Slash's. I mean, I couldn't, confirm that, but I've never seen another one like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, be looking out for those.
Yeah.
And those are gonna explode on the scene for sure.
All right. Well, let's come on over here to your. I'm assuming this is your sports section.
Yeah, this is all sports related.
Okay. So
jerseys.
Okay, I see.
All over prints.
So when you're looking for sports shirts, are you looking for anything in particular? Like what for you is an excellent find when it comes to a sports shirt?
Old Nike, of course, is good. Like this one right here. I had a friend who hooked me up with this. They got that blue tag. That means 80s. It's, of course, the 1985 Air Jordan, kind of over the shoulder. That's really cool. So, of course, if you see something like that, you're picking it up.
Yeah.
So Old Nike is good. Even like this newer, like it's like what they call the gray tag Nike. Let's see here. I'll pull one out. This right here, this is gray tag. This is like early 90s.
Yeah.
And of course, still single stitch. That's kind of a cool print. Of course, they're maybe making remakes of stuff that kind of looks like that stock because that vintage is kind of coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that I love finding. And then, of course, like you were talking about all over prints, this right here.
Yeah.
That's what they call these Magic Johnson tees. You can see it on the tag there. And this is a brand that just kind of made all over sports stuff. And really cool design. Front and back. And of course, you can see where they had the overspray like I was telling y'all before. You can even see like sometimes where they see where it's folded right here and there's kind of like little white there. So there's flaws on it. But what's cool is each flaw is individual and this shirt is not like any other shirt out there.
Yeah.
So even though they made that exact same shirt, it's like maybe the way they hit it and they kind of printed it on there is a little bit different. So
yeah.
In reality, they're all different.
See, for me personally, these are my favorite vintage t-shirts is the old sports all over prints. To me, it doesn't get better than that. And you have another one right here. It's the, Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, this is Michael Jordan.
Yeah. So these are the types of shirts that I'm very keen on. And there's another sports tee company, a vintage one called Salem Tees.
Okay, yeah, Salem.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I've got those in here.
Got one over here. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This is San Jose Sharks with the Salem tag. Yeah, they've got very quality prints, good. They've always got quality with that brand.
Yeah. And I've noticed Salem never does like the spray on stuff where it gets on the tag and everything like that.
No, they're more just like the screen print, and they don't really do it that way. Which I guess to me that's what I call the all over print. Like a true all over is when it's got like the overspray. It's on the collar even. Yeah, it's on the ends of the sleeve. Like it's all over it.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody in the game would call this a all over print. I mean, it's got the wrap around the hip there. But it's not like the traditional what I refer to.
Yeah. And it looks here like you have another probably Magic Johnson's tee right here. Is this
that's what's interesting about this. This actually isn't a Magic Johnson tee. It looks just like the style. It's very similar.
Yeah.
And as you can see there, it's got like overspray with a tag even kind of cut it off. Very interesting print.
Yeah.
But it's not a Magic Johnson tee, and to my knowledge, I've only seen these done with Braves. I've only seen them on Braves if they're not Magic Johnson, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Now, have you actually, I want to talk about this tee a little bit. Have you researched into how exactly they do make these tees? Because it's so interesting because you can clearly see someone spraying here. Is that how they do this?
Well,
what do they do?
I don't think it's a spray. I think they have these screens and then they'll run this kind of ink over it. And the shirt's underneath the screen, and they kind of have the print like it is.
Do they
but
like
that does
layer
look
it?
Like
so it's like this is layer 1, this is layer 2, this is layer 3?
They have layers for sure. But yeah, it does kind of look like that's like some kind of a mist there.
Yeah, it does. It's very interesting.
So I mean, I've like on these other prints I've seen them do it, not with this particular style. So I don't know. There might be some kind of a spray involved.
Yeah.
But everyone I've seen is just the screen print.
Okay. And it looks like you have a few jerseys here from a few different sports. What are the jerseys that you look for the most? Like when you're looking for jerseys, what is the ultimate find for you?
I really love champion jerseys. I collect a lot of these, and more importantly, like the authentics. Like I'll pull a, let's see if I got one over here. Now this is what they call authentic champion jersey. It's a lot thicker material. These holes here are bigger. This is actually got stitched on numbers, the star, it's got glitter in that star. They're just way more quality. You'd have to get these at, say, the game. Like you go to the Orlando game, you'd pay maybe $300 for this if you're a real big fan with a lot of money, high roller. And so these are real hard to find. I've actually thrifted this one, so it's like $3. And at the time I got it back probably when I was 16. I didn't know what it was. I was used to champion jerseys. I picked it up, I was like, why is this thing so heavy? It feels different. I was like, I'm getting that. I don't know much about it, but I know I want it.
Yeah.
And then later on down the road, I realized what it was. But yeah, very cool.
So I know they have some game-worn champions that you can find. Do you have some?
Yeah, these are actually these are team-issued shorts for the Milwaukee Bucks, which are actually found in the South, which is interesting. But as you can see, this is Authentics right there. You can put your player's name. Yeah, this would have been issued to an actual player.
Okay.
And these are probably harder to find than these for sure.
Okay.
And those are good. And these the value of this is probably $250 to $300 on that.
Okay.
And about $200, depending on who it is, sometimes $300 on those.
Yeah.
So real heavy value, because your average, just your average, say, champion, like these kind of like more printed on, like kind of more generic. These are like $40-50, maybe 60 if it's the right player.
Yeah.
But definitely not valued at the same, and they're not near as rare. I mean, you can see I found a whole bunch of those.
So do you think that the game issued shorts, do you think that those were actually worn, or were they made to sell to the public, but they're the official
No, I think these
shorts?
were, I don't know if maybe this guy was a bench warmer or whatever. Maybe these weren't actually worn on the court, but yeah, these were issued to him. These might have been like a backup pair or whatever. But these were only issued to like the actual team players.
Okay, so not available to purchase.
Yeah, the ones you can purchase were kind of like on that level of the lower end champion jerseys, where they're kind of cheaper made, thinner.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that does it for the sports tees. I noticed that you did have a lot of shoes, so I was wondering if you could take me through some of your favorite shoes that you found, and tell me a bit about them.
I guess my favorite pair are going to be these Nikes right here.
Okay. So what are these? Tell me a bit about these.
These are what they call Nike samples. So as you can see on the back where it would normally say Nike, like this right here.
Yeah.
It says Vol. So these are Tennessee Vol player issued shoes that Nike made kind of special for Tennessee. And you can see the dates on these things. If you want to know the dates on that first two numbers, so it says 83.
Yeah.
These are 1983s, and at the end, if you see the lettering, that PS is a player sample or promo sample. And these are very rare. As you can see on the condition, these have never been worn. These are what they call dead stock. So they're pretty much new old stock.
Okay, and these were found at a thrift store?
These were thrifted for I think $5.
Golly.
And the value of these is, I guess, yet to be determined. I would put it upwards, well over 500, maybe 1,000, even could be more to the right buyer. So
these were basketball shoes?
See, I think maybe these could have been just like issued to a teammate to just wear around campus, you know, like maybe just
I got you. Because I noticed the bottoms. Let's look at the bottoms of these.
Yeah.
I noticed the bottoms look very different from most old Nikes.
Yeah, these are kind of an interesting bottom.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're like some tennis style or what, but I just figured they're just kind of just because, you know, like University State, they'll give out the shoes to people, just rock them around campus, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, these are very rare. This is the only pair of samples I've ever found.
Yeah.
I was very excited. These were actually found recently, or within the last 6 months.
Dang. Okay, I saw over here, it looked like you had quite a few pairs of Converse All-Stars. So,
yeah,
let's go check these out.
Yeah, these are all made in USA, ranging from late 70s, early 70s, late 60s, and what I believe to be late 50s on these right here.
Okay, now how are you knowing these dates? What do you look at to determine
There's
dates?
references online. There's people who have made videos that are like experts on them.
Yeah.
And these were actually bought from an old man who was he was 83 years old, and he said he got these like back right at the end of high school.
Golly.
And if you notice on the inside there, it's got like a cool little comfort arch in there. It's kind of neat, and they've got these different kind of tags on the back. Like you're used to seeing like these right here are kind of like your white typical, but even that says made in USA on it, so those are older. And they're just different quality. They're a lot thicker.
Yeah.
They're a lot better made, and you know.
So are there any really small details on these things that really show you the authenticity of like its age and how it used to be made different than it is today?
Yeah, for instance, the toe cap's a lot smaller than the one today, and as you can see, there's like a little bit of flaws in that rubber.
Yeah.
You can almost see like little bubbling or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And even on like the sides of it, like that doesn't really line up to that. Like you can tell it's put on by hand. And then they got this canvas is a heck of a lot thicker. They got extra stitching here to hold that tongue in. That's definitely a sign as for an older Converse.
Okay.
And just stuff like that. And right here, that's like a kind of a different material. The newer ones have this little strip here, but it's the same material as like the rest of it.
Okay.
So there's several different ways you can tell. But yeah, these are very rare. Especially in that condition, to find one from like the late 50s, early 60s.
Now, I noticed a lot of shoes, if you're not careful, some of the older ones will get really dry rotted. The bottoms will fall off. The inside will be like some weird foam that just crumbles apart. Do Converse ever have that problem? And what shoes are known for having that problem when you find them?
Converse don't really, because they don't have that. That's from that foam stuff that's in there. You're seeing flake out. It does it in hats too.
Yeah.
The thing with Converse is they'll sometimes this little end cap here will get dry rotted, and they'll kind of be more like brittle.
Yeah.
It'll kind of crack.
Okay.
But they don't have the kind of foam coming out. But like Nikes, old Nikes will have that. In fact, those blue ones here, let me grab these real quick. They kind of got that going on the sides there. You can kind of see it cracking if you listen. You can hear that crunch. So that's what that is.
Okay.
That's that foam that's dry rotting. These are 1985s, and that just meant that they weren't stored like they should have been. If they were stored right in the right humidity and stuff, that wouldn't have happened. Because I've got some like those 84s, like those are before these, and they're not like that at all. So those are stored perfectly. These were not. They weren't really cared for right.
So does the dry rotting, does that affect the value of the shoe much, or does it not do much to
it definitely affects it, but it won't deter people from buying it. You're still going to have the Nike fans that just want that specific shoe, and they want to have it. Like, so they don't really care about that, but it will affect the price for sure. Not extreme in an extreme way, but it will affect it.
So I noticed this shoe right here, because they make a shoe, and I'm not an expert on this, but they make a shoe that looks similar, but it has the waffle sole. Do you have waffle sole ones? And if you do, are they worth a lot more than just a sole like this?
I don't actually have waffles. I've got the ones with like the little Nike checks all throughout the bottom, and several others like that. I don't have the waffle bottom, but yeah, those are a very, like Nike fans love the waffle bottom, because the original Nike shoe was actually made with an actual waffle iron, is where it got the name. So that's like the origin, so people really like that. But I do not own a pair of vintage waffle bottoms. I've always been looking for one.